Today we are talking about the Mossberg MC2SC. What's the SC? Subcompact. Alright, so I'm sure you guys are familiar with the Mossberg MC1, which is their first delve into a modern handgun. Here is the MC2. It is an updated version. The regular MC2 is slightly bigger, about the same size as the Glock 19. This, however, is a subcompact, so it's right around the size of the original MC1 or a Glock 43. To put it in perspective for you, something you might understand. This one is compliant. Now, I know some of you that are local know that Mossberg is a local company. The MC1 did say North Haven on it. This one is stamped with Texas. All right, so what do you get when you get this? First and foremost, since we are a compliant state, you get 2 magazines, both hold 10 rounds. All right, so the first one is a regular slick mag. So when you're gonna put it in, it will allow for your pinky to come off if you have a larger hand. It is completely manageable, as you can see here. But for me, I really don't like it when my pinky is coming off. So I did not opt for this. Now, in a normal state that's not having to be compliant, this would hold 11 plus 1 for a total of 12. While this one is technically the extended mag, it will hold in a regular state 14 plus 1, but you're in a compliant state here in Connecticut, so it still only holds 10, but it does have that mag extension to help with your pinky, which is nice. So this becomes a little bit more manageable when you're shooting, much like a Glock 43X. Now, Mossberg does tout this as designed to carry and built to protect. It is not bad by any means. It has a unique breakdown pattern to where you're not having to pull the trigger, much like a Glock. It does not have a takedown lever like a SIG. Instead, you have to pull the back apart, pull the firing pin out, and then the assembly comes off, which you can find in other videos or in the user's manual. Let's go over some real basics. I mean, it's a standard handgun after all, before we get into the numbers of things. All right, this one, yep, it's optic ready. So you're ready to go if you purchase one of these. It does have a reinforced polymer frame to be a little more robust, much like the Glocks. Some other guns that have polymer frames, you know, when you hold them, you shoot them, you can tell they're really cheap. This one though feels good. Doesn't feel like I'm going to break it as I'm applying pressure to it. Now, they say in their little stat sheet it does have an aggressive grip. This particular grip for me is really not that aggressive. We're not wearing gloves. Doesn't feel too bad. It does line up right here with my finger for a nice good marriage. It does come built in with gas pedal area for you resting your thumb and your obviously index finger when you are doing your finger along the frame. With gloves, it was fine. I prefer wearing gloves while shooting anyways, but for those of you that like a little more an aggressive grip, something like this, I might add a little skateboard tape to it just to really get a good grip on it on really hot, humid summer days here in the Northeast. Now, it also says that it has snag-free iron sights, and for some models you're going to get true glow sights. This model right here has your standard black and white dots. Okay, now when they're talking about the sights, there is still ample room on the rear sight to where if you needed to catch this on like a pocket, your jeans, a belt, something like that, you do have something to really snag on it. The front sight is a little more flush to where nothing's really going to snag on that, but again, there is ample room in that rear sight to hook it onto things if for some reason you are doing a one-handed reload and you need to rack it, against something such as clothing or a belt. The trigger on this is a flat face trigger with your typical blade safety built in. Some models will come with a manual safety. This one, however, does not, which is nice. I like this. It's just pretty much point and go. This is good for a EDC, or if you're going to use it for a self-defense gun, one less step of having to sweep anything down. The release on it is nice and close to it, yet there is still enough room to where you can get your thumb on it, all the way on it, and push down hard. You got to push hard, and it's going to dig into your thumb. It's going to hurt a little bit, but there is enough there. At that point, you might as well just come right up on over, and if you're used to hitting that slide release, it might not be enough of it there for you to engage it, or it is going to take a lot more practice. All right, now, well, everybody's waiting for all the numbers that go with it. So, you know me, I've got my little notes, and this is what we're going to go into with all the numbers. All right, right out the gate, it is 9mm Luger. That is it. There is no 380s, there is no 45s, no 4. It's 9mm Luger, and that is it. So, there you go. If 9mm is your jam, Mossberg's right in your alley. All right, the barrel itself is only a 3.4-inch barrel, just because this does fall into the category of a micro compact or a subcompact. The barrel's finish is 416 stainless steel. The overall length is going to be 6 1/4 inches. The height overall is going to be 4.3. That is not with the extended mag, that is with the flush mag. If you're using the extended mag, then it's going to add about 1 inch to it. It has got the 3-dot white iron sights, and obviously it is cut for a optic. Trigger again was flat profile. The trigger pull itself is actually not too bad. So let's ghost it. All right, so there's a little bit of play. It doesn't really want to spring forward. It's a little sluggish going forward when you let up. But all right, sitting on the wall, starting to pull. There's a reset. It's not too bad. I put it right around 5, maybe 6. I think they actually say it's 5.5 in the owner's manual. So between 5 and 6, pretty safe to say. Overall weight when it's empty is 19.5 ounces, so it's extremely light. When fully loaded with your 10+1, it's only going up to about 24.5 ounces. So it's an incredibly light to carry on your hip all day. By the end of the day, you're not even going to notice that it's there. Its width, as this is a slim profile, is only about 1 inch wide, so it's only 1 inch thick. Even though, yes, it does have double stack magazines, it's still only 1 inch. For all my barrel twist nerds, this barrel for the MC2 is a right hand twist 1 in 16, which is a standard twist rate for your 9mm. Now, as for my first impressions, I did not get a lot of rounds on this. I only put maybe about 50 to 60 rounds through it. It is relatively new in a rental case. Though it's been there a while, it's not one of the more popular handguns. Glocks and the SIGs definitely are. So this one definitely didn't look like it had been shot much. It does go out every now and then, but not as much as obviously SIGs and Glocks. So this really hasn't been beaten on. Doesn't have a lot of wear and tear. The trigger on it is a little stiff. I think though, with a little bit of shooting, a little bit of break-in, it might smooth everything out. It feels a little stiff to me, versus something like a Glock or a SIG right out of the box where it's smooth. This one, little grindy, a little gritty. It's tight. I think that's going to be the best term for it. The trigger on it seems a little bit tight, even though, yes, it may be only a 5 or 6 pound trigger. It just doesn't flow much like the Glock or the SIG triggers. I'm not saying it's a bad trigger. I've felt worse. Something I can deal with, something I could learn. It's definitely something I could get past. There's just a little bit of a learning curve, I would say. But something like this to have for an everyday carry, I don't think it's a bad option. You know, the MSRP on this is a little over $500, so you're right up there with the Glocks. Now, it's not as inexpensive as, say, a Taurus G3C, but it's up there with the Glocks. So it's a viable option if you're not a Glock fanboy or fangirl and you just don't want to pull the trigger on something as expensive as a SIG, because SIGs do get expensive. I mean, you're paying for the name and quality and all that. A Mossberg, to me, is a pretty good option. If you're interested in trying out the MC2SC, by all means, next time you're at the range, it's in our rental case. If you have a Connecticut state permit, $10, it's yours for the day. All you have to do is buy the ammunition off the shelf so we know exactly what you're running through the firearm. You never know. You might fall in love with it and want to buy one just for you. That's all I have for you guys in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Come on down to the range. We are switching over to our winter hours starting October 1st. We will be open 9 to 5, 7 days a week. That goes all the way up till April 1st, where we will switch back to our summer hours. All right, you guys have a great day. I'll see you all on the range.